for one, this is like maybe the third time. I haven't said I'm not playing this season.
Okay.
He was kind of looking at us sideways when we brought that up.
So
I'm thinking Achilles. All right,
no,
that's
for sure.
fair. That's fair.
The most important thing is a full recovery, being 100%.
That's right.
Not rushing.
Yeah, don't rush back.
At all.
Don't do that.
But also, I don't go to rehab 6 days a week for nothing. Okay. But with that being said, with being a part of the organization and the Celtics, there is a standard that we play to, that we uphold, regardless of, who we have in the lineup, who's on the team, who's not. There's a sense of pride that we have when we put that uniform on, and we always are competing to win a championship. And that standard will not change.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. This is Hold My Banner. Ountae Campbell, Adam Kaufman. We're hanging out with you, talking nothing but Celtics over the course of the next hour, and we will get into, of course, our team previews. Been doing those for weeks here on the program. Look at some of the contenders in the Eastern Conference. Could the Celtics be one of those? It'd be nice, right?
Yeah,
what are we
like
talking about? Banner 19. That would be ideal. But look, story of the week is the guy that we just heard from, Jayson Tatum, who was he did the car wash.
Yeah.
He talked to everybody. Everybody on a national level. Jayson Tatum was having conversations. That, of course, with him on First Take ESPN. It's been 19 weeks since Jayson Tatum ruptured that Achilles. Kind of crazy, actually, that it's been that long, Ountae. The playoff loss to the Knicks back in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yep.
It's been mostly in the Boston area, rehabbing it. But as he has said to multiple people, gets drafted in New York, injures himself in New York, has the surgery in New York. Life's kind of in New York right now. What'd you make of what he said and what was really the first media tour for Tatum post-injury?
Yeah, I mean, he did the media tour in New York as well, right?
Right.
Running around New York, getting that done. What I took from that is that this dude is going to do what he can to lead this team from afar. He's going to talk the talk and walk the walk and do the things that he needs to do because it'll give the team hope, right? If you say, Jayson Tatum, I'm done for the year, it's like how we look at the Pacers. And we talked about the Pacers last episode. And it's like, all right, this year is kind of a wash for you guys because you know that your star is already gone for a year and you're going to fight a little bit. But realistically, teams are going to try to take their chances and take their licks at you when they get them, right? When you see that Pacers logo lined up on your schedule, you're going to say, oh, yeah, I remember when they were, I remember when they were talking smack to us during the playoffs and they were going to do this and they were going to do that and blah, blah, blah. Well, the Boston Celtics have 18 championships, way more than everybody else in the NBA. We won't talk about that team over there in the purple and gold, but way more than everybody else not
They're trying
named
to count Minneapolis anyway. That's something they do that when it's convenient for them. Please,
Right.
The Lakers and the Celtics, they're not at the same level when it comes to that stuff. But to your point, when it comes to Tatum, I think he's making it a point to say all of the right things when it comes to, look, I'm not saying I'm coming back this year.
Right.
I'm also not saying I'm not playing this year.
Right.
And that's the big difference between what you're talking about with Indiana, where they have already ruled out Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep.
They know this is a lost season.
Yep.
For the Celtics, and this is a Tatum thing, it's not an organizational thing. To the credit of Brad Stevens, Joe Mazzulla, all these guys, they've said nothing about this. They are completely unwilling to put a timetable on it. So for Tatum, it's trying to keep this thing alive, whether it's for him personally, maybe just to have something to chase rather than kind of resting on the laurels of, well, I know I'm not going to play this year. I don't need to, pedal to the metal, be as kind of crazed about this as possible versus having, and he said it, he said, I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking. Close family, friends, they know, but I have a date in mind.
Right.
Like there's a date on the calendar and people are speculating out, well, it's March 4th. And they're thinking March 4th. At home against Charlotte, belated birthday present. His birthday's the 3rd. It's going to be the 4th. That's when he returns. And he did say, as much as he said was that I'm going to return at home in Boston in front of the fans. Whenever it happens, it's going to be a home game. Now, does he already know the schedule for next year?
Right.
Because that says to me, well, if you open up on the road, buddy, that must be this coming season that you're coming back. I do think, Ountae, he wants to come back and he's pressing to come back. But you look through history here. The fastest, I'm sure you dug into this, the fastest an NBA player has ever returned from ruptured Achilles was, do you know?
No. Tell me.
Wesley Matthews.
Okay.
Back in 2015, 7.5 months.
Yep.
He returned in the fall after a March injury. Now, Tatum Let's do the math here, folks. He ruptured the Achilles May 12th, 2025, underwent surgery the following day. 8 months, Ante, would be mid-January.
Yep.
That would be if he was looking to, beat science,
Right.
It would be mid-January that Jayson Tatum could return from that injury. Now, he's been back on the court, he's been working out, he's rehabbing 6 days a week, all this stuff. But I guess ultimately what I'm wondering, what everybody's wondering, right, what we're all trying to come up with opinions on is, do you buy it? Like, do you think we see Jayson Tatum this year?
Oh man, I can't say that I don't buy it. Do I say that I like it? I don't love it, to be honest with you.
Why?
And the reason that I don't love it is because Jayson Tatum is a psycho. Joe Mazzulla is a psycho.
More.
The entire Boston Celtics fan base is psychotic as well, in a good way.
It depends. And I'm one of you. I am one of you. It's not always a good thing.
And the thing about it is, with that comes expectations and pressure. And the first week or the first month, it's, oh my God, thank you for Jayson Tatum coming back, right? And then when it's how it looked for Klay Thompson, shaky, you know what I mean, at times. How it looked for Kevin Durant when he came back early on, shaky at times. Then it's, whoa, Jayson Tatum rushed back and he should have worked on his game and da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? And how does that play into what he does, right? Because we know that he wants to win. We know that he wants to do the things that he wants to do for the Boston Celtics. He talked about wanting to come home and give back to the fans. He wants to be that great of a player.
Yeah.
So he's going to put pressure on himself to be working out 2 or 3 times in the gym every day. He's going to put pressure on himself to make shots. He's going to call out his boys and say, hey, man, come and work out with me at midnight, after a game, before a game, all this other stuff. And what could that mean for itself? Because we have seen those players who have come back from Achilles tear and then do it again. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to see that for him. So I'm hoping that when he says being 100% is the key for him, that he really and truly means that.
But don't you think, I mean, at a certain point, like with the Patriots, we've had this conversation around Christian Gonzalez lately. Same thing, except, you're talking about an all-pro corner second team versus arguably a top 5 player in the NBA. Celtics, and it's new ownership now too, like, Bill Chisholm and company.
Right.
Bill, hop on the show sometime. We want to talk to you.
Yeah.
This group has to maintain its investment.
Right.
And Tatum, you hate to kind of bottom line the thing and look at people, humans this way, but he's an investment, for the organization. And so even if he was feeling great, good, I'm ready, let's go, they're not going to do it unless the team doctors and everybody on the medical side says, all right, you are at no risk of a setback. And remember, setbacks do happen along the way just in rehab in general as well. So even before he gets on the floor, just consider that possibility. But even if everything goes swimmingly through the rehab and he comes back, they're not going to put him out there until they are convinced. Doesn't matter how he feels, until they are convinced he's 110%. But you mentioned Kevin Durant. I'm glad you did, because I dug into some of his numbers earlier, because Kevin Durant is the poster child for coming back from the ruptured Achilles. But the thing that we don't talk about enough, it's acknowledged, but we don't talk about it enough, is Tatum is 27 years old?
Yep.
He's just entering the prime of his career in NBA years. Kevin Durant, when he ruptured the Achilles during the finals for the Warriors, before obviously he joined the Nets, and he missed that whole first year with the Brooklyn Nets, he was 32 years old coming back from that injury. He's played 5 years since. Now, he has been an all-star all 5 of those years. Second team All-NBA twice top 10 in the MVP vote. He has been excellent. He's averaged 28.7 rebounds and 5 assists in 36 minutes per game. The shooting percentages overall, from 3, from 2, free throw percentage, everything, they've actually gone up here over the last 5 compared to the first 12 years of his career when he, pre-ruptured Achilles. What's interesting, though, is 2-point tries are up. Free throw attempts are down in the last 5. Some of that does come with age, but some of it also is, and he's highlighted this, and he said he's talked to Tatum, to Damian Lillard, to guys that have suffered this injury. They're always calling him for advice. He has had to change his game. He's become less explosive. He's more of a mid-range shooter. 100%. He's not attacking the rim the same way. When Tatum comes back, and again, you got to highlight the age. He's just 27, be 28, that kind of thing. But when Tatum comes back, is he going to be the same player?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the things that you're talking about with Kevin Durant is a good thing to spotlight. Would you ask me if KD was the same player that he was in OKC. I would say yes, the same caliber of player. But as you so well divulged into,
the numbers.
The
numbers.
The way it looks is a little bit different than what it looked in the OKC days or the Warrior days or whatever you want to call it, right? I think the same exact thing here with Jayson Tatum, and I said that immediately. Are we going to be seeing Tatum dunk on LeBron in Game 7 of an Eastern Conference Finals to try to extend his team to the finals? No, we're not going to see that Jayson Tatum anymore. I think that one's gone. But, I mean, this dude is 6'8". He was already starting to lean into more of a mid-range shooter, more of a three-point shot chucker at times, and he's kind of gotten into more of a facilitator role with this Boston Celtics team as they started to lose traditional point guards over the time of his tenure here in Boston. So what I would like to see from Jayson Tatum, and what I believe I can see from Jayson Tatum, is that he will be a top 10 NBA player again after this injury. Now, it won't look the same, but it still will be at the same caliber of player. That's what I believe, at least.
So, sorry, Bill. Sorry, Brad. Sorry, Joe. Ante's in charge right now. Let me just paint a picture.
Okay, paint it.
Mid-March.
Yep.
Jayson Tatum is deemed medically cleared to return to basketball.
Yep.
You, at that point in time, the Boston Celtics, are playoff mix.
Yeah, what's our record? Talk to me.
I don't know about the number, but
Yep.
let's say you're 5th, 6th seed, but you're real close mathematically to the play-in tournament, those 7 to 10. You're a team that you're not a lottery team.
Yep.
It's not a tanking situation,
Yep.
but you're certainly not a contender. And there are going to be people out there that say, Jayson Tatum's coming back. Why the hell aren't we a contender all of a sudden?
Right.
This is a top 5, top 10 player in the world.
Yes.
But again, you fear what could come with returning potentially too soon if it's deemed too soon. So ultimately, the question here is, if he's able to come back and it's mid-March, and you got 3 weeks, a month left in the regular season, do you want Tatum out there at all, or are you just saying, look, we've got what we've got, it's going to go how it goes, maybe we win a round, Jayson, full year, just relax, we'll see you in the fall. Or, all right, we'll bring you in, but man, playoff games they're too important. Like, they're not too important, you can't help us, but too important, they're too high intensity and just high stress, and you haven't played that caliber of basketball in a while. We don't want to put that on you. Sure, we'll use you for a couple weeks in the regular season, this kind of playoff push sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we're not going to use you then because it's just putting too much stress on the leg and all of that.
Yeah.
Is that how you would handle it, or do you say if you're eligible to go, you're full go?
So let me put it to you this way, Adam. When I was in college, my redshirt junior year of college, I missed the first 5 games due to an injury or whatever, and I was, brought back into the fold with the team after missing time. My first time being at the University of Texas El Paso, right? So my first year being around these teammates, a lot of guys that I've never heard of before, seen before, or played any basketball before, right, are on the team. Now, Jayson Tatum will be kind of going into a similar situation because this Boston Celtics team looks a lot different.
It sure does.
Than the one that he played for the last time he played a game, and will so, especially during that timeline that you're talking about after the trade deadline. What will happen with the Anthony Simons? What will happen with a Jaylen Brown, with a Payton Pritchard, with a Sam Hauser? All of the questions, right? And then you have these guys who are on the one-year deals, the Luka Garzas, the Josh Minots. What will they be? What will their contributions be, right? Chris Boucher, what will his contribution be? I want to be able to see what these guys are with the best player on the team. Now, I wasn't the best player on the team at the time. I can tell you that.
Listen,
I was a starter.
Do the old Brian Scalabrine, like, after 10 years, I'm going to tell my kids I was finals MVP. You could do the same thing. People aren't looking up the stats.
I wasn't the best player on the team. I was just a starter, another guy on the team. But having Jayson Tatum there and seeing what he looks like in those rotations with the Luka Garza, with the Chris Boucher, with the Josh Minot, with maybe Anthony Simons, if they want to try to see if they can bring him back or extend him or whatever they want to do with that contract. I want to know what that looks like with the full year of Jayson Tatum. So I need to get just a little taste of it during the end of the regular season, if he's available.
Yep.
And then in the playoffs, I think the entirety time, if we do get Jayson Tatum back for this year, he should be on a minutes restriction. So if he is on a minutes restriction and I can get a little view of what that possibility can look like for us in 26, 27, I'm all in.
So like you said, I mean, it's not a contender. Team's not actively tanking either.
Yep.
Just to sort of remind people where they're at, you know, and I think the ownership change has played into this and avoiding the second apron and all of that. Hell, as we sit here right now, they're only $4 million on top of the first apron. They could dip below that if they wanted to, in theory, depending on any potential moves. But, you know, you've Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford and Luke Cornett and you know, guys, key rotation players last year, they were all gone.
Yep.
You mentioned obviously a lot of the new names, but it's not just this year because independent of what happens with Tatum, I think most people would agree, even if you get Jayson Tatum back at some point this year and he's available to you in the playoffs, you're still in all likelihood not a contender.
Yeah.
And that's simply because one, he's coming off the injury, and two, the rest of the roster around it isn't a contending roster.
Right.
And so you start to think ahead to, all right, what's 26, 27 look like? Guys that are currently, not to say moves couldn't be made, but guys that are currently on the books, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derrick White, Sam Hauser, Payton Pritchard, Luka Garza.
Yep.
Then you have Anthony Simons, if he's still here at that point,
Right.
is an unrestricted free agent. So is Xavier Tillman. So is Chris Boucher.
Yep.
Club options for a couple of young guys, Baylor Shireman, Jordan Walsh as well. And because this is not, you got to remind yourself, like we all like to get excited around the start of free agency and everything, but this isn't Al Horford, this isn't Gordon Hayward, this isn't, you know, they don't have money.
Right.
They can't go out and they don't, with the way the cap is structured and everything and the way they're built, if they want to modify and change on the fly and improve their team, they're going to have to do that largely via trade or hitting on some of these young guys, these draft picks and you know, like the Thunder of late. Like your young guys got to grow and be good.
Yeah.
You know, you need a Jalen Williams to kind of come out of nowhere type of situation. And so to that end, you know, as we look ahead, what do you think Boston's priority is? Is internally Jayson Tatum's status even the most important question to them? Or as you kind of alluded to, is it actually, it's not about the championship, it's not about the lottery, it's about seeing what we have on this roster that can help us with Banner 19.
Right. I think that's exactly what their priority is. They want to figure out what they can do this year that can help them in position for the years to come because like we said, this year is fickle. There's a lot of things out there in the West that are going on. The Rockets are doing what they're doing. The Thunder, the Nuggets. There's a couple of teams over there that really want to win the championship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And have a really good chance of doing so. With the Boston Celtics, this year is kind of a toss-up. They're not even sure who they are going to be. They're not sure if they're going to be a top 10 team in the East or a bottom 15, 16, you know what I mean? At the bottom 5 of the East, the bottom 6. They have no idea who they're going to be. So this year, they're trying to figure out what they have for next year, and that should be their main focus. My main focus for the Boston Celtics this year is I think they should be bad. And I've said it before, I hate...
Deliberately.
ML
cars walking through that door.
I hate NBA purgatory. That's what I call it. When you're good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win the NBA championship, it's the worst.
You don't want to be that perennial 7-8 seed.
That you can be. You're the Pacers. No offense to the Pacers. They made it to the NBA Finals last year. I don't think anybody thought that they were going to win that. They took them to 7. They surprised all of us, but they're the team every single year that we know we can line up and say, oh, yeah, that's a playoff team. But are they actually going to win the NBA championship? No. You do not want to be that team if you're the Boston Celtics. So I would love to see them get into the lottery, especially with what we just saw occur for the Dallas Mavericks, for them going all the way from the 10th pick or whatever, 14th pick that they had, all the way up to one to go get a generational talent in Cooper Flag.
Maybe with some help, the 1.2% chance or whatever of getting Cooper Flag.
And the Boston...
Nico Harrison, this was the plan all along.
And look,
please.
The NBA has done a lot of bad things to the Boston Celtics. I think it would be the first time in a very long time when they thought they were going to get Tim Duncan and they didn't get him. Now they have an opportunity to go get a kid from Massachusetts or a point guard, their future point guard, and Darren Peterson from Kansas. You know, shout out to AJ DeBenta. And play in Boston Celtics green. For the first time, the Boston Celtics can get their hometown guy, and everyone's happy.
For years, we have spent time, all of us who love to watch, root on, talk about the Celtics. It's, prior to Banner 18, it was all can Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown coexist?
Yep.
Do they need their own teams? And I was one of the ones, beating my fists on the table, say, give them a chance.
Right.
These guys have shown they can win together. It's gonna happen. I felt that Banner 18 2 years ago was so special to me because I just felt vindicated.
Yep.
See, I told you it could happen. You
You're
wouldn't
right.
listen. I told you.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Now Tatum is out indefinitely.
Yep.
Again, maybe he misses the whole year, maybe he misses several months, whatever. He is out for an extended period of time, a time like we have never seen before because he is historically so durable.
Yep.
It is now, all due respect, Derrick White, Jaylen Brown's team.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to see what Jaylen Brown, number one, night to night, looks like, provided he can stay healthy, obviously. And so, do we believe that, how much pressure falls upon Brown to lift this team to a place that exceeds people's expectations?
Yeah.
And is he up for it?
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure on Jaylen Brown, obviously, to show that he's a 1A. Everyone's been questioning whether he could be that 1A. And the only time that we really got to see him without Jayson Tatum was last year in game 5 and 6 or 5 of that appearance against the Knicks.
Yeah.
And then
Semifinals.
when he was a rookie. That's the only times that we've seen him in the NBA jersey without Jayson Tatum.
Right.
Which I feel like is not a fair assessment. This year, he's coming in, hopefully healthy in the training camp. I've seen him jumping off walls and flying around the country and doing all different types of things. So he looks healthy.
He's over at the Walk of Fame with Bill Nye.
There you go. So he looks healthy. So hopefully he's healthy and he comes in and he has the right mindset. Now, I know ESPN has been talking about, rankings and ratings and putting him around where they think that he should be and all this other stuff. And we're going to get into that after the break. So I don't want to spoil too much about what I think Jaylen Brown is going to do or what he should be doing this year, but I think we're in for a good year out of this guy.
I think the guy that is in some ways under scrutiny is not the right word, but I think any Celtics fan, true Celtics fan, not just the casual viewer that pops on from time to time, how's it going? Oh, they won tonight? Cool. No, the people that really care, I think there are a lot of people that want to see what we get out of Joe Mazzulla this year.
Yes.
Now, Mazzulla has multiple years left on his contract. He had multiple years left on his contract even before he signed the extension.
Yep.
So he is not going anywhere. Brad Stevens loves him.
Yep.
He loves Brad. They're on the same page. When changes like this happen, you think like Mike Malone in Denver.
Yeah.
When changes like that happen, it's because at a certain point, either one, you are vastly underachieving,
Yep.
or two, your front office and your coach are clashing.
Yep.
These two things are not happening. And even if the Celtics win, heaven forbid, 15 games this year, Joe's not going anywhere because it's not going to be viewed as on Joe because there's no Tatum.
Right.
Still, I think this is an opportunity, Ountae, to, he doesn't have to reinvent himself per se, but he needs to think outside the box and experiment and have some fun and not just be, the three-point killer whale offense that we've been watching for the last couple of years, because now with so much personnel turnover plus being absent Tatum, they're just not built that way anymore.
Yes.
So this is, I think, Joe seems to be the kind of guy, I don't know him personally, but he seems to be the kind of guy that revels in these challenges, that gets excited about these moments, that fantasizes about this opportunity. Well, you're up, Joe. It's showtime. So how do you think the Celtics wind up playing differently this year under Mazzulla?
That's a good question. I think this team, one, is going to lean into their defensive identity. I think he doesn't have the personnel. We know that. As you just said, he doesn't have the personnel. But I think this team is going to give you energy and effort every single night. I think what we saw from that last game, or the second to last game, the game where the Luke Cornett game, as many like to call it, the last game that the Celtics played in TD Garden last year, they played inspired, they played with energy, they played with effort, they played with the Boston Celtics pride, the Boston way, the right way, whatever you want to say it is. They did all of those things in that game, right? Because they went out there, like you said, Jaylen Brown reinvented himself a little bit and, played a full game, rebounding, defense, making shots, facilitating, whatever you needed. I think you're going to get that night in and night out from this Boston Celtics team, and they're going to play inspired for their psychotic head coach that we talked about a little bit earlier. And from there, you're going to get a team that doesn't shoot the three as much as we have come to see, just because we don't have the stretch fives that you've had of late
Sure.
with the Boston Celtics.
Or any bigs at all, other than Boucher. Sorry, I mean, it's true. This is the worst. There are G League teams that have better front
Yes.
courts than what the Boston Celtics have entering this year.
I won't say that. I like Boucher. I love Boucher. You know what I'm saying? I think that he can come in here and do a lot of good things. But, Adam, that is your opinion. But look, when we come back, we're going to talk about this ESPN Top 100
Yes.
list that we have from the Boston Celtics player, Payton Pritchard, Derrick White, Jaylen Brown. Did they all get snubbed a little bit or disrespected? We're going to talk about it when we come back here on Hold My Banner.
Nessa Nation, we are back on Hold My Banner. You see the tweet on your screen. ESPN put out the second part of the top 100 players list. Have Jaylen Brown 19th in the NBA, Derrick White 26th. I pulled up the list, Ante, and it starts obviously, it goes in descending order, so it starts right away at 50.
Yeah.
Oh, Kristaps Porzingis. Oh, wait a minute. He's a Hawk.
Yeah.
But he's ranked 50th, in case you're curious. The movement, though, with no Jayson Tatum, seemingly for the whole year, at least for now, he's not on the list. We know that much. Jaylen Brown has actually dropped year to year from 14 to 19, while Derrick White has climbed from 39 to 26. I want to get to White, but first with Brown. I think intuitively, most people would say, well, there's no Jayson Tatum, so Jaylen, if you wanted to call him a 1B, well, he's a 1A now. So how exactly in the scope of the top 100 ESPN did he go down in the rankings by losing Jayson Tatum? Doesn't that mean more shots, more points, more opportunity, more minutes, all this stuff? How did you interpret it?
I projected it as they were looking towards the future, which is this list, them projecting at the end of the season who's going to be where. And I think they are saying, what a lot of people are saying, is that the Boston Celtics are not going to be a very good basketball team. And because they think that, the narrative surrounding Jaylen Brown will be a little bit lower than what we expect here in Boston.
Good player, bad team.
Good player, bad team. Now, is he better than Jimmy Butler right now today? I think so. Is he better than Paolo Banchero right now today? I would say so as well.
Yep, two guys that are in front of him, 18, 17.
So,
Devin Booker, 16. Donovan Mitchell, 15. Anthony Davis, 14.
100%.
Just to give you the 14 to 19 where he was.
A lot of guys who didn't win.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who have been, 1, 2, blah, 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 on teams that we thought pegged as contenders, whatever you want to call it, and didn't get it done. But guess who did get it done? Jaylen Brown, you know what I mean? He always shows up like your good old trusty friend that comes up to your door every day, knocking, asking your mom if you can come ride bikes. He always shows up, you know what I'm saying? So I love the fact that they're pegging Jaylen Brown as 19, because you know what I love about Jaylen Brown is he's petty. He's petty, just like me a little bit. And he takes notes. And he says, oh, ESPN, you want to say that I'm the 19th best player in the league when I have this long list of accolades? Great. Guess what I'm going to do to you? I'm going to come in and hopefully average 26, 7 a game and get 8 rebounds a game and 6 assists a game. And, oh, look at that. Jaylen Brown is in top 10 NBA MVP finalist award at the end of the year. And I'm like, wow, look at this dude. You told me that he was the 19th best. And there's not 10 dudes who are better than this kid.
He might hang on to some stuff a little too long. I'm not sure he still needs to, after being the highest paid player in the NBA briefly, he doesn't need to still hang on to, but the fans booed me on draft night. Like,
You're right.
All right, you've won a championship. People
You're right.
love you. Relax.
Yeah.
Just a smidge there. The Derrick White thing, though,
Yes.
I think is interesting, I think is predictable, and I think is accurate.
Yes.
Which is him rising from 39 to 26. Now, you could take this and say, what is that? What should we read into that in terms of him growing as a player and his personal development and all of those things? Maybe you view it differently. The way that I look at it, very simply, is if you have watched a moment of Celtics basketball when either Tatum or Brown were out and White elevated to become the number 2, you saw that the responsibility increased exponentially.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Derrick White, he's elevated. He's become your second scoring option, generally speaking. So the fact that he has climbed in the rankings, to just outside of the top 25 makes perfect sense to me. he should, I don't know that he will, but he should average 20 points a game this year.
Yes, I agree. I think that he should be in the All-Star conversation by the time we get to January when that happens, or February when that happens. My thing is, I think we need to slow down just a tad, on the Derrick White thing.
He's going to talk about this on his podcast.
I love Derrick White, and I hope that he talks about it on the podcast. I hope that he comes and joins us.
Yeah, we'll cross-promote White and always hop on with us, man.
Here's the thing about Derrick White. High level role player. Like you said, elevates in those moments. But just like with Payton Pritchard, everyone's real quiet when he has the nights where he's freaking 1 for 17. You know what I mean? Everyone's real quiet when he has 6 points, and no one says anything about it. And that's great. But if you're talking about a top 25 guy in this league, with the talent that we have spread around this league right now, like those dudes I'm at least getting double figures every single night.
Yeah.
Derrick White has to do that. We've seen him shy away and go away for quarters, halves, games, weeks, sometimes even a month at some point earlier in this season. Yep, last year there was a month where I was like, all right, Derrick White, like we got Tatum, we got Brown, we got KP,
With those
we
Sam
got
Adams
Drew.
commercials, we need you to back on the court.
But we need you hooping. Luckily, you got 5, 6, 7 dudes at the time who are fringe all-star level players, right? But this year they don't have it. He can't hide anymore, right? So I just want to slow down a little bit on the Derrick White push. I hope that he can be a fringe all-star guy. I believe that he could be that guy. But, when we're getting in the top 25 NBA players, I think we're doing a little too much.
A guy who is not yet in the top 25, give it time, our pal Payton Pritchard.
Yes.
He has, however, cracked the top 100 for the first time in his career. Obviously, ESPN has watched some highlight reels of these, pro-am Pritchard games where he's putting up 80-plus points on the gym, against a bunch of people that play like me, basically. He's killing it.
Right.
He's out there killing it. So Pritchard, during the championship year a couple of years ago, all those last-second heaves and the buzzer beaters and all that. Like I used to refer to Pritchard as, like a special NFL special teams player. Like you come in just for a certain purpose. Obviously, last year we saw him really emerge into a more pivotal role, 6th man of the year, and a consistent contributor, leader of the second unit, all of these things. Is it right, for him to now be viewed as a top 100 player in the NBA? And honestly, have we even scratched the surface of what his ceiling is?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing that he's a top 100 player, and I think it is right to put him in that list because he's earned it, he's snatched it, he's taken it. Whatever adjective you want to describe or verb that you want to take to use to describe what Payton Pritchard has done over the last 2 or 3 years in a Boston Celtics jersey, he has been phenomenal. Look, Payton Pritchard has not hit his ceiling yet. We're going to see what his ceiling is this year when he's starting point guard for the Boston Celtics. We're going to see.
You convinced of that?
I'm convinced.
I don't think that's a lock.
You don't think that's a lock?
No.
I think that it's going to be one of those things that I've told George, I think last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, we talked about it, and I said, at the beginning of the season, that's a lock. He will be the starter. I think as the ebbs and flows of the Payton Pritchard experience goes, because there are going to be the nights where he is going to go out there and he has to play the Cleveland Cavaliers, the guarding 6'7" Lonzo Ball. And
You're taking it the other way. I don't think it's a knock on Pritchard so much as Joe really likes him running the second unit.
Yeah.
Providing that spark plug, Eddie House microwave offense off the bench.
Yeah, but who's to say Anthony Simons can't be that same guy?
He could.
He might be a better scorer
than
Payton Pritchard is. I mean, I've seen him do it in starting minutes, you know what I mean, before. Once again, good player, bad team.
You get no defense out of him, though.
You do get no defense out of him. But with Pritchard, you get the effort and the energy on the defensive end, but there's still the deficiencies. Guys are shooting over him, the strength. People are putting him in the pick and rolls. Everybody's switching. This Boston Celtics team is going to switch as much as possible, too. And when he's switching on the wings like a Paolo Banchero or, the other premier wings in this Eastern Conference, it's going to get a little scary out there on that island. I'm just being honest with you. So there is going to be the deficiencies that happen there. How much can Payton Pritchard really play on a night in, night out basis for this Boston Celtics team, especially with a coach who's defensively minded like a Joe Mazzulla?
Do we think the rankings are good barometer for Boston's performance and what's going to happen this year, or do you think it's just kind of highlighting 3 good players and not necessarily acknowledging the team's overall promise?
I think we are getting a little bit of a good barometer. I will say I feel like this list is disrespecting, because once again, it's a projection of what they think is going to happen during this season of who Anthony Simons is. As far as we talked about, you talked about the deficiencies on defense, but him playing in this Joe Mazzulla system, he one of the best pick and roll guards in the league. I mean, the way he reads pick and rolls, the way he can facilitate. I know he didn't facilitate that well
look where he was.
Right.
Yeah.
With the Portland Trail Blazers, but they didn't really have the offensive firepower. Defensively, that team is on its way. Offensively, they're still trying to make some strides, right? With this Boston Celtics team, having a Jaylen Brown, having a Derrick White beside him, having a Sam Hauser, even a Payton Pritchard, maybe at times we'll see lineups with that together. He will be able to kick and make those dudes better players. But the way he can shoot it and the things that he can do, it's a lot like what you saw of a young Damian Lillard out there in Portland. So I do think that this is a guy that we'll look at the end of the year as a top 100 guy. But yes, the Boston Celtics do have some work to do, which this list obviously highlighted.
Let me quickly read you ESPN's top 10, reverse order, starting at 10 for those of you at home. Jalen Brunson, obviously of the Knicks. Kevin Durant, now a Houston Rocket, if anybody missed that.
Yep.
LeBron James, still in the top 10. Guy's going to play forever. Steph Curry at number 7. Anthony Edwards at 6. Now your top 5.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's got nothing around him.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic, reminder, a Laker. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the former reigning MVP and champion, and then still the best in the world in my mind as well, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. My question for you is, if we were sitting here talking about a healthy Jayson Tatum, this injury back in May never happens.
Well,
where's he slot in?
4.
4.
I think he's the 4th best player in the NBA right now. I don't think anybody should be questioning that. If he was healthy, that's where he was going into the MVP conversation. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. Is he better than a Shai? Is he better than a Jokic? Is he better than a Luka Doncic?
Well, night to night, any of these guys can be better than the other one.
Exactly.
But overall?
Overall, I think he's the 3rd best player. 4th best player. I would not put Luka in the top 3 conversation. This is once again a projected list and what they think is going to happen with LeBron, maybe sunsetting after this year or whatever. Maybe Luka taking over the reins. Maybe the Lakers leaning a little bit more into Luka, which they hadn't done, obviously, in the short season for him being a Los Angeles Laker last year. But I think it goes Jokic, SGA, Giannis, then Jayson Tatum. I think that's the pecking order. But once again, I think SGA is a product of his environment. I don't know if he's necessarily better than Tatum. That's really kind of where the conversation starts. Is Tatum the 2nd best, 3rd best, 4th best? He's in that range, but no lower than 4.
Top 5 player.
Yes.
Good enough for me. I'll take it. Boston Celtics have made a change this coming season. It's not just to their roster, where they've made several. They have sent out tweeted a video of their new City Edition jerseys. You can see the video on your screen right there. Pictures, all of it. One thing that is glaringly obvious here to all of us that are watching, sitting, hold my banner. No green. There's no green in this jersey, Ountae. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time the Celtics have ever in their history had a jersey that does not have any green in it whatsoever.
Yes.
How do you feel about it? Because the reactions have been, I think, more positive than not.
Yes.
Other than some of even Travis on his way out the door earlier around here is going, no green in this? Yeah. How is there no green on this jersey? How do you feel about this jersey? Would you be happy wearing this out on the floor?
Okay, let me say this before I tell you how I feel, all right? I have to ingrain you into the Hold My Banner family. So
okay.
Travis, George, Casey, Adam Pellerin, they've all been on the show as hosts. They've all been a part of what I like to call Wicked or Kick It, pow, pow, pow. And it's where we always make fun of NBA fashion. And Travis and I always, you can imagine the jokes that me and him have together. And we rate how we feel about outfits, jerseys, whatever, time to time. So this is a little tiny microcosm of what wicket or kicker will be like. So we usually show the jersey. So I'll show the jersey one more time for the people at home who want to see it. Here's the jersey, and you're asking me how I feel about it. Now, Adam, I absolutely love these jerseys. This has to be the best City Edition jersey since Nike's taken over for the Boston Celtics.
I would agree with that.
This has no green, which I do not personally like. I wish it did have, they have the black striping on the side or the piping on the side. You can barely see it, but I would love to see just a little splash of green with that piping instead, right?
Okay.
That would be a little bit better. But the reason that I do really like this jersey is because you say it's the Jaylen Brown team, it's a Jaylen Brown year, but this kind of looked like Colorado jerseys, Colorado Buffs jersey. So shout out to Derrick White.
Through that door?
We're leading them with a little Derrick White jersey. I love it. So I will give you a wicket rating out of this, and then I will tell you that I think these are probably like a 8.9 out of 10 for me.
On the wicket scale.
On the wicket scale.
All right. I mean, this is where I talk out of both sides of my mouth here. If I am just evaluating the jersey like any other jersey, then I will say, sure, nothing wrong with your ranking.
Right.
It's a nice jersey. It's a crisp, smooth, classy jersey.
Yes.
It's clean, looks good.
Yep.
I also think it's wholly unnecessary.
Yes.
And I think
capitalism, Adam.
I think
capitalism. You got to have a new jersey every year.
The freaking money grabs from the league and these organizations and like this. People will buy them because it's a nice jersey.
Yeah.
You're going to see these in the stands. You're going to see these hanging at the pro shop. You're going to custom. People are going to put their own damn names on the back of these things.
No.
Just it's not an ugly jersey. It is an unnecessary jersey.
Yes.
It does not need to exist. White, green. I don't need the black one.
Yeah.
White, green. That's it.
Tradition.
You don't need the alt jerseys and City Connect jerseys and all City Edition and all that. No, I don't need it. I just don't need it. Again, looks nice, clean jersey. I'll put my money elsewhere. You know what I'll do with my money? I'll get a white or a green one. That's what I'll do. I don't need to own that.
Oh man,
I know.
Adam Kaufman, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
know.
Welcome
We're not done. We're not done here on Hold My Banner, Nesson Nation. Go nowhere. We're going to come on back. We're going to get into some previews across the Eastern Conference. The team that everyone and their mother says is going to win, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the one that nobody says is going to win, despite it having the talent, the Philadelphia Sixers. We'll be back. Back on Hold My Banner, and you see the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team everyone thinks will win the East. Days until more celebrations. 29. Hashtag let them know. If you're a stickler for accuracy, you see the timestamp. It's actually 27 days now. It's okay. That's all right. Back with Ountae Adams. So the Cavs, they have the second best title odds in the NBA at plus 650, trails the champion Thunder, plus 220, well ahead of the Knicks at plus 950, and then the Magic in the East at 18-1. Over-under for this team, 56.5 wins. Now, as we know, this is a Cavaliers team that Ountae fell in the Eastern Conference semifinals for the second straight year after going 64-18, 2 wins shy of their franchise record. You out there listening, LeBron? Now, 8th most points in NBA history. They were an offensive juggernaut last year, swept the Heat easily, effortlessly in the first round. Then they lose to the Pacers, who, as we know, make it all the way to the NBA Finals. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, all All-Stars. Jared Allen, consistent contributor. First full season now for DeAndre Hunter. Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year last season, coming off a career year. Kenny Atkinson, he was the Coach of the Year last year. Some movement up and down the lineup, which we'll get into a little bit. But what is your outlook for this team running it back off of what we saw last year?
I mean, it's theirs to lose. I believe they have the most continuity that you want. They went and filled some of the holes that they had last year. I think that Ty Jerome was a good guy for them last year. Obviously, second in 6th Man of the Year votes, but once you got to the playoffs, a lot like Payton Pritchard, you couldn't play him because of the defensive deficiencies that you brought up with Payton Pritchard. Here's the thing. This team has their coach. They have the star. They have the second star. They have the role players. But can they stay healthy, which is the question, and can they not fizzle out? Because last year, everyone was like, oh, they're gonna do it. They're finally here. They're there, and then they fizzled out. I look at them like how I look at the Milwaukee Brewers in the MLB playoffs this year. Like, yeah, you're one of the better teams in baseball right now, and you're hot, and you're winning, and you're doing all these things.
Now prove it.
Now prove it, exactly.
Yeah.
So with the Cleveland Cavaliers, we can talk all day about whether Evan Mobley is going to be an all-star and if Donovan Mitchell is ready to carry a team and if Darius Garland can finally stay healthy, even though he's not going to be healthy to start the season, if Lonzo Ball is a good addition and all these other questions. But my biggest question is, can you finally get to the finals? And I just...
Finals or East Finals?
No, finals. That's the floor for them. Like, they should be looking at their team and say, it's finals or nothing. We have to get there, and if we get there, we're cool. If we're not, blow it up. Something has to change because doing this year in and year out and being the team that's good enough to, like you said, make it to the second round of the playoffs and not make it to the Eastern Conference Final and get waxed in the 7-game series and, oh, the lights are too bright for Jared Allen and, oh, Donovan Mitchell needs help and blah, blah. I'm tired of hearing about that. You finally got the coach. You told me it was a coach 2 years ago. You get Kenny Atkinson. Now he's been there. He didn't do anything different in the playoffs. Can he get this team to the heights that they want to reach? Can they do the things before LeBron James and when LeBron James was here? I'm tired of all of it, Adam. I'm pissed, as you can see, because I want this team to do what they say they're going to do and go out there and be a true contender. Get out of purgatory.
Listen, this year's Celtics without Jayson Tatum could make it to the second round of the playoffs.
Right.
If you're built the way the Cavs are built, and I know, like you said, early injuries, Darius Garland's recovering from toe surgery, Max Strus, he had foot surgery, he's going to miss the first month, Lonzo Ball can never stay healthy, but he's on this team now. I mean, ultimately, what does blowing it up look like? You know, you got to point fingers at somebody.
Yeah.
Is it Donovan Mitchell? You point at the best. Usually, you're pointing at the coach if it doesn't work out, or you're pointing at the best player if it doesn't work out. And like you said, and I agree with you, I think they've got the coach. So is it the player?
Right. Here's what I know about this current NBA scape that we live in. Unless you have the center who's generational in Nikola Jokic, the point guard who's generational in Steph Curry, guards and bigs help, but they don't win you championships.
Yeah.
You need a top 5 small forward in the league to go and do it.
It's a wing era.
Jayson Tatum. And even when you look back to last year and you say, okay, yeah, Shea won it. He was the finals MVP and all this other stuff. They don't get there without Jalen Williams, right? They don't get there without him. Him putting up those 40-point performances throughout the playoffs for them. He was really the guy that was the engine that kept them moving. When he played well, they won. When he didn't play well, they were just average. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, get rid of Donovan Mitchell. And the reason that I would say yes for Donovan Mitchell is only because he is older than Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley looks like he's finally ascending to be a perennial all-star, maybe one day in MVP conversations. You need that kind of versatile guy who can guard out on the perimeter, shoot it out on the perimeter, but also bang with the bigs. Now, take that Donovan Mitchell money and find your way to go get a top wing in this league. If you can do that, the Cavaliers' ceiling is as high as they want it to be.
Well, if Joel Embiid's waiting for us to put some respect on his name, he's probably watching the wrong show. But we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Are they contenders? They'd like us to believe so, but can they stay healthy? We'll be back on Hold My Banner. Back on Hold My Banner. What is this? This is the Sixers Classic Edition camcorder content. Look, let's get to the stuff that matters, crypto. Sixers have the 6th best odds to win the East, Ountae, at 15-1. That's behind the Cavaliers, the Knicks, the Magic, the Hawks, the Pistons, over under 42.5 wins, which is perfectly mediocre. We're talking about a team that maybe could go over 500, which sounds nuts when you think about Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey and Kyle Lowry and
Kelly Oubre,
Jared McCain, VJ Edgecombe, maybe Quentin Grimes. How do they find a way to disappoint people this year?
by Embiid not playing back-to-backs, because I think they have the most back-to-backs in the league, because the league, Adam Silver was like, we hate you.
Yeah, so how much for there's no MVP recognition there. You're out.
Yeah.
You can only miss so many games, Joel.
And, what can make them happy is they have to be healthy, right? Obviously, Embiid is Embiid. I've given up on him being healthy. I think you've given up. Philly has given up on him being healthy. If he can give you 40 games, great. Tyrese Maxey has to stay healthy. Jared McCain was on fire before he had a season injury last year. And Paul George has to stay healthy enough to be a meaningful player in this league. Can he be $51 million? No, he's not going to be that guy. But can he play at a $25 million level at least? That would be great. If they can get those things, they can have some flashy plays. They have the athleticism to make some flashy plays. They have the talent. They have the spark. And then they can be a team that sits around the 6 or 7 seed, and the Philly can say, hey, we're going to go beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in round 1, and they won't. And then we can all go home. Does that sound fair?
Everybody's whining about Kawhi Leonard and his no-show job. Joel Embiid's had a no-show job for years in Philadelphia.
And still will.
It still will. No, you're right. Look, they've got the talent. It's just nobody believes this team has the ability to stay healthy across the board.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid missed, 63 games last year?
Christ.
Paul George,
Missed.
41. Maxey, 30.
Right.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Anyway, throughout this offseason, I know training camp for the Celtics begins on Monday.
Yeah.
Ante, it's coming. We're going to hear from ownership later. There's a lot of good, actual, real news, and best shape of our life season is upon us in the NBA. Season is coming. This has been a lot of fun. We're just getting started here.
Yeah, we are. I can't wait to see you for the rest of the month.
That's right.
Let's do it.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, Nesson Nation. Check us out, obviously, 1 p.m. Eastern, full hour. It's a blast. A lot more coming your way for Ountae Campbell, Adam Kaufman. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes and you out there. We'll see you.
Peace.